Hi, welcome to the channel today, and today's going to be kind of a little bit different one. I'm going to try to piece all this stuff together and make it work. But I'm going to be talking about the 10 dwarf tomato plants that I picked. I'm saying top 10, but they're the ones that I went through the websites, looked at them, haven't tried all these. So there are going to be a lot of new ones. I do have pictures of, I think, all of them to kind of show you what they look like. And anyway, and kind of how I do it, I'm going to do something a little bit different later, I think, as far as the watering part of it. And also, I was asked, you know, how do I fertilize my tomatoes in containers themselves? I just use Miracle-Gro, and I fill up this side of the spoon, kind of level it off, throw it in the bucket, fill the bucket up. Usually using that trash can, I'll fill it with water, and then I'll water them. Not anything real complicated, not anything real big. However, on the in-ground ones, it's a little different. I did take a soil test a couple years ago. I did add some lime because it was low in pH, and it also said that I didn't need any phosphorus, so I just use urea. It's 4600 for as far as the nitrogen, so it's really high in nitrogen. It also volatilizes really easy, so you have to either work in the soil or get a rain within a day or two. So that does complicate things. And I'll also use some potash. It's at 0060 is what I use, and that means it has 6% potash, nothing else. I can mix those two together and sling it out with one of these little whirlybird swing deals. And you know, I don't get really exact. If I'm looking at tomatoes and they look like they're struggling, I add some fertilizer. The odd thing about it is, when I first started giving talks to master gardeners a few years ago, I'd always tell them, don't over fertilize your tomatoes, because you'll have all tomatoes and very few, get all plant and very few tomatoes. And listen to Haas Tools, they were just saying the opposite, and I respect Haas Tools, so I was trying to figure out where the disconnect was. And basically what I said was true and what he said was true, even though we were saying opposite things. If you have determinate tomatoes, the time they just get so tall and then start making tomatoes, they require a lot more fertilizer. If you're looking at indeterminate tomatoes, which is what I usually grow back then you don't want to over fertilize them, because they just get huge tomato plants before they start putting on tomatoes. So according to what you think of. On these tomatoes, I am going to use some organics fertilizer, and it's going to be the MicroLife. It's a 624, which is a 3:1:2 ratio, and that's kind of what I try to stick with. That's a rule of thumb. It's a pretty good rule, because if you're not careful, you'll overdo the phosphorus, on almost everybody does, and you get too high a phosphorus load. So you don't want to add too much phosphorus. Your nitrogen, it's going to come and go. It's like your wayward child. It's either going back in the air, because roughly 80% of our atmosphere is nitrogen, or it gets in the water. It'll either run off or you'll leach down and get lost in the groundwater. It's just going to go somewhere. The old rule of thumb, it's not really that accurate. You say every 45 days you need to add nitrogen, because it's going to go somewhere. It lasts longer than that, but it does. You know, if you have plenty of nitrogen, 3 months later you may not have enough. So that's just something, you don't want to add your nitrogen until you're ready to plant, or the plant's ready to use it. Where your phosphorus, you can put that out anytime. Potassium is somewhere in between. But anyway, that's kind of quick going lowdown on my fertilizer regimen. You just really, if you're in ground, you need to get a soils test. If you have a raised bed, just look at your plants, because it's going to cost you about $15 plus shipping to send in a soils test, and it's only good for that raised bed. It just gets too expensive. Look at it. If it's not growing well, it's probably needs more nitrogen. These, when you're growing in pots, you need to get a complete fertilizer. If you look on Miracle-Gro, I'm not pushing Miracle-Gro, it's just, to me, it's fairly cheap, and it's a good, I always say average tomato, but look at all the micronutrients that's in there. And that's what you have to supply. Your regular soil has plenty of micronutrients in it, so you don't have to worry about it. But whenever you get into containers, you know, these containers, I was going to tell you how to do a really good one, and I was going to tell you that, you know, to mix in your manure or whatever, and I did buy the manure from Living Earth, and this is what it looks like. It's got a lot of sand in it, and a lot of other stuff. That's a stick. You know, it didn't look near like the black cow. So to me, I'm just adding a lot of weight. I don't think that's that great. I did on the first these here. I went ahead and mixed some of it in there. And what I finally did is I just started using the vermiculite stuff here, adding that to it because that's gonna help hold water. And you know, I started adding that to it. So I don't know. I was hoping to get a better mixture. I am going to try to do the swimming pool, the kiddie pool, to water them to make it easier, so I won't have that much about the water. Because the problem you have with these fabric pots is they just drain so well that you almost sometimes need to water it once, twice a day, and that gets really tough. So, enough to right hear me talk. Let's get into planting the plants. Now, the first one I'm going to plant is one that you can see pretty well. I'm going to take one of these, just going to toss it on here, mix it to the top of the soil. Okay, and the first one we're going to do is going to be the Fuzzy Wuzzy. Now I can't remember exactly where I got these, and these pictures I took from different websites. I'm not trying to, you know, do anything wrong, but that's Tomatofifou or Fifou, and that's what it looks like. And they're a pretty tomato, and that's the one from here at Seed Market. I think that might be where I got them from. I just can't remember. The rest of them I got from Victory Seeds. So anyway, and the thing about it is you can look at it and see this in here with that nice kind of grayish, I guess, lots of hairs on it. You can identify it really quickly. So it's not one that's going to be hard. I didn't even look at the label because I know what it looks like. And it's going to keep that silvery, I guess, look to it. And then just dig you a big hole. Go as low as you want because it don't really matter. And then just cover them up. And this here. So I do want to add some fertilizer to it because that other fertilizer may not break down fast. And just water it in. I'm probably not going to do this for all of them because that's going to get a long time, and you know, you do the same thing every time. So there's that one. The next one we're going to go to is actually micro dwarf. And it's called Lower Number 5. How long do you think it's going to go before I forget to do this? There it is. Put in there. I'm not going to have to dig near as deep on this one because it's, that's Lower Number 5. And that's not supposed to be on there. That's what it looks like. It looks like a miniature Roma. It is a 65-day variety. And what those 65 days, what it's best, and there's what it looks like when it's ripe. And what that 65 days, you don't look at, oh, in 65 days I'm gonna have tomatoes. What it's good to look at is, okay, this will take 65 days, and another may take 75 days, another 85. That kind of lines up how they're gonna ripen. So, you know, you're gonna say, well, that one's 65 days, that's when one of the first ones to ripen. It may be 65, maybe 75, maybe 55, probably closer to 75. But it does give you a good look at when they're going to start making. So that's how I always look at it when I'm looking at tomato varieties. I want my varieties to be in the 60s and 70s. I don't like it when they get to the 80s and 90s because it's going to throw me in later into the summer months. But anyway, the next one, if I can find it, well, Ululru Ochre, and it's this one right here. Never grown this one before, but it's supposed to taste really well. And like I said, I've used this fertilizer before, but I've never used it like this. And I'm not going to get too deep because that way it can make it can move down in the soil. You don't want it in the bottom because the roots may never get there or won't get there in time for it to utilize the soil. And just set her in there. Like that's a little farther out. And this one's in order. There it is. And one reason I'm going to show it is look how big that tomato is. They get between 6, let me see what it says, 6 to 12 inches, 65 days. It's a really pretty one. It's a black orange. It's one of the first ones that's been black orange. So I think that, now this one I actually got from, I think Nicole Smith. Either got from Nicole or from Cynthia, but not sure which. And we were changing seeds, and that's one of it I did want, I couldn't find. But Victory Seeds does sell them. The next one we're going to get down to, well, let me do this. I hope this video ain't going to be just super long. Is Lucky Swirl. That's another really pretty tomato there. And it's a 90 days, because as soon as I get to talking about I don't like to do 90 days, but look how pretty it is. So I do have rules, and I used to break those rules, but it's still, when I'm considering them, that's one of the things I would consider that I probably would not like about it. I'm going to see how it goes, and if it takes too long, then it might or might not make. But now the next one is called Eagle Smiley. Oh, that one's wet. And it's one of the cherry tomatoes. A lot of your dwarfs are not cherries. I can't. It's 60 days, so it's really quick. Okay. And no, it's not, Smiley's not spelled out because I ran out of. Ouch. Okay. Now we're going to move over, and this is one I'm curious about. It's called Velvet Night. I know one person was really bragging about it. I probably should not pull these tomatoes out before I get my fertilizer. And that's it. It's a smaller one, not a cherry tomato, but it's a smaller tomato, and smaller plant too. 70 days, so it's not bad. And now we're going to switch over. Now I'm going to put that in there first, like I should. In fact, let's do this. You mix those two up, you want to, son? Okay, and the next one. called Franklin County. If I look at the right ones, it'd help. And I picked it because I just like the shape of it. It's kind of a short, squatty one, kind of a UFO looking. It was one of them I really have no idea on. 75 days wasn't bad. It's supposed to be really productive. Okay, just a minute here. Last three. Next one's going to be Tasmanian Chocolate. And every time I say that, I think about Tasmanian Devil. And it's one of the longer ones, one of the 85 days ones. I have grown it in the past. It has made for me, has produced. And that's what it looks like. This is Bendigo Moon. It's another 70-day tomato. And last but not least, the one that I've grown a few times. Okay. Sometimes your stuff will, that's okay. And it's Kookaburra Cackle. And it is a high yielding one. It really looks pretty. It's got good flavor to it. And that's the 10. One honorable mention I wanted to do, but I could not find it, was this Fred's tie-dye. And in fact, I actually did it because I forgot about Fuzzy Wuzzy. I knew I had 10. I thought, well, maybe that was the other one. I didn't find those seeds this year. They have it, but I think they're out of stock when I ordered the seeds. So anyway, and it was a 75 days. So that's the one thing we plant, and I will be keeping up with you. Okay, and that's the 10. And I haven't been marking these. Okay, I'll figure it out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and did I know this one? Hopefully I don't mix them up. Anyway, until next time.